Welcome back to my kitchen, everybody. Today I'm going to be cooking Taglitelle Carbonara. I'm going to be cooking it the traditional way, not a hint of cream in sight. We're going to make it with egg yolks and pepper. This can be made with pancetta, or I'm going to be using guanciale, which is the traditional way to do it, which is pig's cheek. You can do it with pancetta, it's just as good. I just wanted to test myself and try it with guanciale because that is the traditional way to cook it, like I say. Before I get started, I want to give a shout out to Steve Cusato from the other YouTube channel, Not Another Cooking Show. This guy is amazing, he's absolutely smashing it, and every time I look at an Italian recipe to try and find out exactly how it should be done, I get pointed towards his videos and his blog and everything like that. So please do check him out. I'll put a link below so you can check him out. Yeah, and thank you very much, Steve. Hopefully I won't ruin your recipe. So we're about to get stuck in. Before I do, if it is your first time here, or if you are a returning viewer and you've not clicked the subscribe button, please do consider clicking it. It really does help me out. It gets the numbers up. It puts my videos at the top of lists on YouTube and all that malarkey. And it really, really does help. And if you like this kind of video, please give it a thumbs up as well. Again, it really does help the channel and I really, really appreciate it. Also, I'm in the process of building a vlog, so everything I do here on the channel, all the recipes will be on the blog with a really easy step-by-step rundown of how you can recreate them. So you might want to try one of the recipes and you don't want to do it off your phone whilst you're in the kitchen trying to cook. You can print them off, it's dead easy. There's links, just click print the recipe off and you've got it on paper and away you go. You can take that into your kitchen, make yourself a little scrapbook, cookbook, and you are flying. Please do let me know if there's anything that you want me to try or you want me to have a go as well that you've been thinking of trying yourself. I'll try and research the recipe and do it the way that it should be done. So without further ado, let's go and have a look what we need to make this carbonara. For the meat element in this dish, I am using guanciale as that is what is used traditionally, but pancetta will work just fine. You're going to want some fresh cracked black pepper, a pinch of salt for your pasta water. I'm using a mix of two cheeses, Pecorino and Parmigiano. I have some nice pasta. The better pasta you use, the nicer this dish is going to taste. That's pretty obvious. You're going to want 4 egg yolks, and I use flat leaf parsley chopped for a garnish. So you're going to want to slice away the skin off the guanciale. This is way too hard and is not going to render down and will just end up being uneatable in your carbonara. So we're going to remove that. We're just going to be left with some of the flesh and the soft fat, which will render down in the pan. Once we've got the outer skin off, we're now going to start slicing. This is totally preference. I tend to try and cut my pieces similar to what you'd find your pancetta in a supermarket cut to. You can see here roughly the idea, and bear in mind that when this goes in the pan, it will probably half in size because a ton of that fat will render out, and we'll be using that in the sauce. And now we've got all our guanciale sliced up and diced to the size that we want. We're going to get this in a dry pan. So grab yourselves a dry frying pan or skillet, whichever you prefer to use. I'm just going to use a standard frying pan here, non-stick. And we'll transfer all our guanciale into this as we will be starting this off on the hob from cold, letting it warm up with the rest of the pan and watching all the fat render out from there. So we're going to place the frying pan or skillet onto a sort of medium to low heat. We're going to slowly warm up the pancetta. We're going to keep it moving. And slowly but surely you'll start to see the fat render out of the meat. There is going to be a lot of fat that renders out. This is exactly what you want. We want the guanciale itself to be kind of like a deep red brown golden colour, as you can see here. We're going to take that off now. We're going to let that cool to room temperature, which is what we want because we don't want it to scramble the egg as we add it to the yolks. So whilst the oil and the guanciale is cooling to room temperature, we're going to start grating our cheese. I'll start here with the Parmigiano. We'll get that grated in. We want around a cup, maybe a cup and a half, and then we will jump in with the Pecorino. We like the Pecorino, it's got a little bit more of a nutty, earthy flavour, and it just adds a really nice earthy base for the sauce. We'll mix the two cheeses together. We're going to use half of this in the sauce, and what's left we'll use to garnish at the end. Now let's talk about pasta. Like I mentioned earlier, you want to use the best quality pasta that you can use. It really does make a huge difference. This pasta here is from an Italian deli. A little bit more expensive than your supermarket pasta, but in my opinion it's totally worth it. What I'm trying to show you here on camera is good pasta has like a real grainy texture to it. It's not smooth, it's got starchy appearance, which is what we're looking for. Now let's separate these eggs. We're going to take the yolks into the big bowl and have the whites separated into a smaller bowl or dish like I'm doing here. Once we have got all the yolks away from the whites in the eggs and got them in a bowl, we are going to start adding in around half of our cheese mixture. It's probably best to, I think I went a little bit heavy-handed here with the cheese. It's probably best to add it bit by bit, but I got away with it in the end, so it wasn't too bad. As well as that, we're going to crack in some fresh black pepper. Don't be shy here with the black pepper, but you can always add more at the end if you don't have enough. And then we're just going to give this a good mix through, trying to combine everything as much as we can. We want a nice smooth consistency as a base for our sauce. You can see here it's all coming together really nice. Just give it one final mix, make sure that there is no little bits of cheese left or anything like that, and then we're happy. We'll move on to the next stage. So we've got a pan off to a rolling heat on the hob. We've got it to around 90 degrees. I've tried to control the heat to keep it to around 90 and not get to the boiling point of 100 because I don't want to scramble the eggs. This was another nice tip from Steve over on Not Another Cooking Show YouTube channel. Do check it out, like I say. So we're going to keep mixing here, and what will happen is this will break down the eggs, this will combine everything, the cheese will start to melt, we'll start to get a nice smooth consistency. After about 5 minutes or so of mixing, I did add a dribble of water from the hot pan as well, just to thin it through. We can see that the sauce is nice and smooth now. What we'll do now is we'll add the pasta to the water. So this is kind of the setup that you're going to want on your hob. Obviously I'm lucky I've got a range cooker, but basically what you want to do is have your pasta on the heat. You want your sauce close by and also your guanciale, because you're going to start mixing everything together very shortly. First thing we're going to do is when the pasta is cooked, we're going to add that into the sauce. We're going to mix that through. We're also going to add in maybe a spoonful of the pasta water just to thin things down. And then we're going to add in a spoonful or two of the oil from the guanciale, which will create like a gloss and just emulsify and bring everything together. So everything really does start to come together quite quick now. The pasta's lovely and cooked to perfection. We're going to add this straight into the sauce. We don't mind some of the pasta water getting in there. If anything, this helps because we will add a ladle full of pasta water also, which will just smooth out the sauce, make it a little bit more liquid, because it is quite a thick sauce with just the egg yolk and the cheese. We're going to mix it through. We're going to make sure that every single strand of pasta is coated in the sauce. And then, like I said, we're going to use some of the oil which has come out of the guanciale, add that into the mix, and this is just going to emulsify with everything, and you're going to get a real silky smooth sauce. It's going to really add to the richness of the sauce, and it's going to add a lot of flavour. There is a ton of salt in the oil, which is the reason why we've not added any salt, and we only added a pinch of salt to the pasta water. So once you're happy with the consistency, you've added enough oil that you need to add to the saltiness and the glossiness, you've put enough water in so it's thin enough so it's edible rather than being a sticky sauce, you can start adding the guanciale. This will now be room temperature, will be perfect to add to the sauce, and he's not going to fry the eggs or scramble the eggs, which is why we don't want to add anything too hot to that sauce at this stage. And we'll mix all that together, give it a good thorough mix. I did find that the guanciale did tend to try and stick to the bottom of the bowl, so just make sure that you're getting right under there and you're turning it round, you're separating the pasta. If you need to add a touch more of the pasta water to thin it out, then please do so. And this is where I try my damnedest to be as posh with my plating up as I possibly can. Very difficult. It's a lot easier with spaghetti than it is with tagliatelle, but I'll try my best and we'll see how we end up. I think it looked alright in the end. So we're going to get the spaghetti, or should I say the carbonara, in the centre of your pasta bowl. We'll add some of the guanciale on top, and then we'll garnish with some of the cheese that we had left over from earlier. I also like to just add a little bit of colour, and I'll garnish also with some flat leaf parsley which I finely chopped. And there we go. And that is it, traditional carbonara. All that's left to do is taste some with the guanciale. You'll notice I didn't put any salt, season with any salt. The guanciale is so salty. Pasta's cooked really well. It's really rich, so creamy and smooth. It's very good, very good. Try and get some more without showing myself up on camera. That's delicious. I think once you've done that a few times and you got that down, you've got all the techniques down, that's probably easier than the English way to make carbonara. No cream, no butter. That's beautiful. I think one thing that I would do, I used guanciale this time because that's the traditional way to make it. I think I'll try it with pancetta. It is very salty, the guanciale, very, very salty. Some people like that. I don't mind it. I could quite happily eat that, which I will do. But I think through choice, a little bit less salty. But that's amazing. So a big shout out to Steve for showing us this. That was an amazing recipe, and I hope I did it a little bit of justice. But that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Don't forget, get involved in the comments below. Make sure you check all the links as well to the Facebook group, the blog, etc. Really does help, and I really appreciate it. And thank you. We just got past 100 subscribers, which is amazing. So it's the first 100 apparently is the hardest to get. So it's onwards and upwards. So that's it from me. I'll see you next time. Take care.